This is Johanna Thomas, Pure Joe, at the Biohacking Congress here at the Storey Club in London, talking with its co-founder, Julia Smila. As a biohacker myself for many years, in fact long before it was even a term, I couldn't miss this event. Now Julia, welcome to the Way Forward show.
Thank you, Johanna. Thank you for joining us today. Your show is amazing and I'm excited to answer your questions, so please ask me.
Fantastic. And what an epic event it has been so far.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Tell us, Julia, what exactly is the Biohacking Congress?
Biohacking Congress is more than an event. It is the platform created by our company, the UK company Co-Hub and the US company Unicorn Lab. It is me and my team, we have been working with entrepreneurs and technologists, and we all can see that with the development of new technologies, with changes of environment and ecology, the human body faces a great challenges, and we think that together with creating new technologies, we also get an opportunity to use these technologies to optimize our health, well-being, longevity, and not only entrepreneurs and scientists, but also ordinary people are debating about what is biohacking, what is biotech, what is digital health, and discussing new technologies, and also a lot of talks on how to achieve a harmonious combination of these new technologies and the capability of human body to optimize our health and well-being. And we invite our community to find answers to these scientific and pseudoscientific questions and to understand how exactly we can to improve our abilities and to optimize our health. And for that, we created this platform, this environment, and this community. Because we think that here it is the place for meeting, exhibition, and exchange of opinions between scientists, nutritionists, fitness explorers, entrepreneurs, and investors. And one of our goals is to promote beneficial cooperation between entrepreneurs in digital health and investors who are passionate about investment in digital health.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Biohacking Congress is not just an event, it is the platform, and we believe that biohacking is not just a fashion trend, it is the way forward to the future, and we invite to join our community, to attend our events, and if some entrepreneurs are building startup in these areas, please contact me. I could help somehow.
Sure. But why do you spend so much time and effort to put this together? I mean, you've got lots of events happening this year, not just in London. What is your personal driving force?
Our main goal and our mission is to help to create a world where much more people and families are engaged in their health and live not just long but happy, also aware and happy life.
Very nice.
Yes, because our new universe is beautiful and it's passionate to help people to be engaged with health and to be happy, and that is our main goal. And fourth.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love that. Well, it's very admirable. I'm going to interview a few of the expert speakers in a few moments about the subject, but do tell us what your plan is for 2020 and how our listeners can get involved.
Yeah, we have a great plan for 2020. Our next Biohacking Congress will be in New York on June 4th at the big conference room of Microsoft Office. They also will support us in San Francisco and Los Angeles and Silicon Valley. So we are going to host several events in the US this year.
Fantastic. Yes. That'll keep you very, very busy. And finally, what's your website and social media so that we can support and follow?
Biohackingcongress.com. And social media, actually the same name, Biohacking Congress. And please join us on Instagram, we post a lot of interesting
Absolutely.
information.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Julia. It's been lovely to talk to you. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is Johanna Thomas, Pure Joe, at the Biohacking Congress talking with Slava, who has his own biohacking clinic in Eastern Europe. Slava, welcome.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be talking with you. Now tell us, what have you been speaking about here today at the event?
Today I speak about my experience in managing 2,000 plus parameters of my health during 3 and more years. And this coincidence that I also help to do it to other people in my first biohacking clinic in Eastern Europe.
Amazing.
So I spend almost all my time on it.
Fantastic. And you are actually a trained family doctor. I mean, this is not, biohacking isn't really associated with the doctors. How did you get into it?
In fact, I think that among all medical specialties, family medicine mostly fit to biohacking. Because biohacking is attitude of to behavior, attitude towards your own health. So it comes not from doctors, from person by itself to manage his or her health. But if a person needs assistance, I think that the best option is a family doctor, because family physician, not as narrow specialist, they maintain patients independently on age, gender and status of health.
Right.
And these health metrics and desire of biohacker to become more and more healthy can be a perfect combination among a person who want to improve their health and a doctor who can help with that.
You can help.
But
Sure.
in the same time, the perfect combination would be if doctor, family physician, is biohacker
Yes.
towards his or her health as well.
Of course. And tell us a little bit about your clinic and the festival that you run.
Clinic, we help people to quantify their health. We measure 2,000 plus parameters. We can quantify them during one day, and then we develop, based on the results, personal health improvement program,
Right.
including goals, measurable goals on health independently, or there are serious diseases or there are not, and we help to implement this program to people. And then to check up reached result.
And people can come from all over the world to you?
For the moment, mostly these are local people, because it's very important to be in continuous contact. But for example, this Monday, one of Hollywood celebrities will come for a health examination to our clinic.
Fantastic. Well, that's great. And finally, give me one free biohack that you think that we should or we can all be doing for better health.
I would say the one thing which I think biohacking is impossible. It's data. You need to have parameters of your health. You have to understand as objectively, as subjectively, but concretely, what your health consists
Where you're
of
at
today, as in the navigator.
Yeah.
Point
And
A.
then go from there.
Then, after you know your current position, you have to put goal where you want to achieve, where you need to come. And of course, this goal doesn't have to be very long term, like year or 5 years. 3 months is optimal, because if you want to reach systemic results in 3 months, you need to start act immediately. And then you have to understand which, because there is a lot of information how to improve your health.
Sure.
There is no lack of such information. The only lack is deficiency of attention, focus attention towards your own health from people, because external bad stereotypes, they try to take away focus for people from themselves.
Yeah.
And then develop your plan, how you are going to reach these goals, and start to act and check results. And what I would also recommend, to start to attract at least one person who will help you. The best one will be your family physician, family doctor, but the
Or
one
practitioner like
but the
myself.
one who is not 100% focused on disease management.
Right.
Focus on disease is one of the biggest limitations for today for development of healthcare, because it's still called healthcare,
Yes.
but it's almost 100% concentrated on disease management. So quantify your health, put goals, and act and control the results.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, and best of luck with everything. Nice to meet you.
And one
Yes?
more thing, one
Absolutely.
more biohack, please, because it's really important. The biggest, the most effective tool to improve your health, one, except measuring, it's transcendental meditation.
Okay.
If you will
Fantastic.
meditate,
Yeah.
you will understand yourself better, you will understand more clearly what kind of person you want to be, and it will be a very good first impulse.
Fantastic. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Nice to meet
Thank
you.
you.
This is Johanna Thomas at Pure Joe at the Biohacking Congress here at the Storey Club in London, talking with probably the most renowned biohacker here today, and someone I personally follow, Siim Land. Siim, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Now, why are you here today?
Well, I was invited to speak, and yeah, it's always a good opportunity to meet new people and especially spread the knowledge and information of biohacking.
Fantastic. And what were you speaking about?
The topic of my speech was about time restricted eating, and it essentially describes how do you do intermittent fasting for the sake of health optimization and longevity.
Okay. And what does biohacking personally mean for you?
Well, for me, I think it means kind of realigning your body with the environment that we evolved in, so to say. The modern world creates this sort of a dichotomy between what's natural to us and what's healthy for us, and between the ones that we're constantly surrounded by.
Right.
And with biohacking, you're kind of creating this environment that enables you to stay healthy in spite of all the technology and.
And what's your favourite biohack at this present moment in time?
Well, I think. Well, I do like to take a sauna pretty regularly, so that's my
Okay.
favorite.
Yeah.
It's not like a real biohack; it's like a traditional folk.
Yeah, it's been doing it for
traditional-
years, but
yeah.
they've been biohacking for years.
Yeah. So I think that's probably one of the best and most, like, you feel it the most.
Right, because you sweat out all your
Yeah.
toxins and everything. And if you could give the listeners one piece of advice, one free biohack, because maybe they don't even have a sauna, they can't get to a sauna, what would you recommend for better health?
I think just learning to be more mindful and just developing self-awareness. So, like, meditation is a great way to do it. Journaling is a great way to do it. Any form of mindfulness and that sort of thing that are really effective for just kind of learning to understand your own brain and your own mind, and then kind of changing how do you behave and changing your habits and changing kind of your approach to the world.
Fantastic. And you have a book out currently, I think. Give us a plug for that.
Yeah, it's called Metabolic Autophagy.
Metabolic autophagy.
Yeah.
And explain quickly what is autophagy for the listeners that might not know.
It's basically like just cleaning out the house and taking out the trash inside your body.
It's when your body eats all the bad stuff,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Okay, right. And it's going well, the book?
Yeah, it's going to be
Fantastic. Well, I wish you best of luck with everything, and nice to see you. Thanks, Sim.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care. This is Johanna Thomas, Pure Joe, at the Biohacking Congress, talking with Bomber Anderson. Bomber,
Very-
welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you here. Now tell us a little bit about why you were here today. What were you talking about?
Yeah, well, we're here at the Biohacking Congress in London. Well, why am I here, right? Like, London's such a cool city.
Do you think?
but,
Where are you from? Where have you come from?
So I live in Amsterdam now,
Oh,
but I'm
nice.
from Chicago originally, and there's
Right.
a bunch of dots to connect in between there.
Mm.
But London's such a cool city, and biohacking is one of my favorite topics. I've been involved in the field for almost since its inception, really. And when I got the invite from Julia to come down, of course I'm going to come down for the day.
Absolutely, definitely. And so what exactly did you talk about in your speech?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about what I call health optimization, and really a framework and laying out a framework for people to go about optimizing their health using all these biohacking gadgets and assessing how they're doing on a day-to-day basis or even a quarterly basis, whether or not these biohacks are useful, what kind of nutrient supplements they need, etc.
Right, and what would you say is your number one biohacking tool or device or gadget? What's your favorite?
If I had an overarching principle, it's measure everything.
Okay.
And measure because you want to know where you are, but also you want to know where you're going. And if you track that through feedback loops, you can actually accelerate the rate of behavior change. Number two is, if I have to give you a number two, because everybody's going to listen to this and be like, measurement, right? Number two is optimizing circadian rhythms. So what I mean there is my sleep-wake cycle. If I focus on nailing my sleep-wake cycle, my days can be 10 to 20x better than when I don't.
Interesting. And you use the Aura Ring by the looks of things on your finger?
I can't hide it too much, right?
No, definitely. Everyone here practically has got one.
We were on the panel earlier this morning, and it was everybody had one. I love it.
Yeah. You rate it then, yeah?
I rate it very highly for somebody who's focused on sleep. And if you're focused on sleep optimization, which everybody should be, it's a great tool for that.
So what's your personal story? I mean, I don't think you've been a biohacker forever. You've been something a little bit more conservative, no?
Well, conservative is an interesting, it's probably a way to put it. So I have been involved in biohacking initially from the idea of how to work more and sleep less, which is probably a really horrible way to get into biohacking. This was years and years ago when I was actually in investment banking. And so I was in investment banking, helping companies and governments raise money all around the world. And at that time, all I cared about was how do I work more? There's a little bit of a story here about me having a health scare around my heart, which kind of had that, come to God, Jesus, whatever you want to say, moment. And I was able to then kind of shift patterns, focus on the fact that we're all complex systems, and start to really optimize that complex system rather than focusing on something like, how do I sleep less?
Fair enough. And you're now doing it full time. Do you have a podcast? What is it you're doing?
Sure. So vocationally, I work with entrepreneurs who are changing the world and help them optimize their health so that they can do that better. But as sort of an avocation, I have a podcast called Decoding Superhuman, which we've now got close to 150 different episodes with people in various domains of performance. And I also have a newsletter dedicated to executives and entrepreneurs, really focusing on how you optimize health with little time.
With little time?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So, and how have you found the Congress here today?
It's a lot of fun. Look, a lot of these people speaking are my very good friends, so it's always nice to congregate together, have a little bit of fun, talk biohacking, etc.
Have you learned anything new today, though, that you didn't already know?
The talk that was just going on before this about microbes was fascinating.
Oh, that's Tim Spector.
Yeah, exactly. And so talking about microbes and looking at continuous glucose measurements, but also triglycerides over the course of the day.
Yeah.
These are all things that I've tried and experimented with, but I'm glad to see that Tim is coming out, banging the pavement, so to speak, and giving the message to people.
Yeah, he studies twins a lot as well, and does the difference between the two. Yeah, he's a homegrown boy.
He is.
So that's nice. And if you had to pick one biohack that is free that the listeners could and should start doing now every day for better health, what would you recommend?
Are we talking, so if you're in London, sunlight's hard to come by.
For sure.
But I live in Amsterdam, so I feel your pain.
Yes.
And so sunlight would be my number one that I would recommend for people. But assuming that you can't do that, nature, just any sort of nature you can spend time on. Just walking outside. And I do this, it can be as short as 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Breathe.
Exactly. Go out, breathe, enjoy it. There's always meditation too, but let's stick with nature for now.
Yeah, I think it's a bit easier for some people just to go out and grab a walk and sit and think, I've got to meditate. It's such hard work for some people, So
exactly.
Is there anything else you'd like to mention while we're here?
No, just thank you so much for having me. If you guys want to learn more, you can go over to Decoding Superhuman, and that's
Superhuman.
That's where my entire life is.
Fantastic. Thanks ever so much, Bomber. It's lovely to meet you.
Very nice to meet you as well.
Take care. Thanks. This is Johanna Thomas, Pure Joe, at the Biohacking Congress, talking with Sara Roberts. Sara, welcome to The Way Forward.
Thank you.
Now, Sara, you have created a globally successful business. Tell us more.
So I founded Healthy Nibbles, and we started out with the UK's first tech-enabled healthy vending machines, really trying to enable healthier choices within the workplace and for places of community. And we've since developed that, so we now look at corporate nutrition and essentially the data and statistics around that to really help people get access to those healthier choices on a more regular basis and easily.
Fantastic. I'm sure everyone needs that when they're working hard, right?
Absolutely.
Great. And why is biohacking important to you personally?
I think for me, I had a fairly transformative situation when I started the company, with my dad actually dying from a sort of lifestyle-related cancer. So for me, it was about self-improvement and sort of looking at how I can make consistently small steps to improve my lifestyle, which can have a longer life and healthier lifestyle.
Yes, I call them healthy habits.
Exactly.
Just pop a few in every day, and then you get to love them, and then you add a few more, and on you go. And so how are you finding the Congress today?
I think it's really informative. For us, I came along because I wanted to just sort of be challenged by new thoughts, and I think it's one of the best places to do that, rather than sort of getting stuck in a rut. But it's really good so far.
It's a great community, isn't
Absolutely.
it? Everyone's on the same wavelength, which is always good. And can you possibly tell me one free biohack that the listeners could do or should do for better health? To be free.
Something free, I would say, just look at see where you're starting in the first place. But I think get out in the open for me is really key. When we're talking about exercise, but actually you can just do that walking from the house. Doesn't cost anything.
Definitely. And finally, your websites and some media stuff.
Yes, if you want to find out more about Healthy Nibbles, we are at healthynibbles.co.uk.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Sara. Nice
No worries.
to meet you.
Thank you.
This is Johanna Thomas, Pure Joe, at the Biohacking Congress, talking with Greg Potter, an expert in one of my favourite pastimes, and that's sleep. Greg, welcome to the show.
Thanks, it's great to be here.
Now, Greg, tell us, how are you finding the event today?
I'm enjoying it so far. I know it's the inaugural event, so I'm sure that brings the organisers lots of headaches from time to time, but I think it's gone very smoothly, and I'm honoured to be here among the other speakers.
Fantastic. And what have you been speaking about specifically about sleep? What have you been telling us?
So my talk mostly focused on the positive effects of when people get better sleep, and then how people can actually realise those effects. So what are some of the simple strategies that people can implement to overcome common sleep problems?
And what are the benefits of getting good night's sleep? Because I remember some people when I was going out, you don't need sleep. Sleep is for,
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly. Sleep when I'm dead, literally. So, why is it so important?
Well, it seems that sleep probably evolved to compensate for some of the damaging effects of wakefulness. So the longer that we've been awake, the greater the damage that we incur to our bodies, and we need sleep to restore our bodies for the next bout of wakefulness. And if you disrupt somebody's sleep, whether it's by not letting them get enough sleep, or whether it's by fragmenting their sleep, or whether these people have sleep-related breathing disorders such as obstructive sleep apnea, then all sorts of bad things happen. And that's both true of their cardiometabolic health, so risk of diseases such as obesity and diabetes. It's true of their risk of neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And it's true of their ongoing daily function. So, for example, sleep loss seems to dose-dependently impair various aspects of cognitive function, including working memory and vigilance. So it's likely that there's really no aspect of our biology that evades the negative consequences of sleep disruption.
Interesting. And tell us, how can people follow you personally?
Yeah, I actually have a website now, which went up recently. It's very rudimentary, but it's just gregpotterphd.com. And I don't really like gregpotterphd.com, but gregpotter.com was taken, so I just went with that.
Never mind.
So I'm contactable there, but then also I am on social media periodically, both on Instagram and Twitter, both at gregpotterphd. LinkedIn is the same.
And with your expertise in the sleep, give us one free biohack for better sleep.
Okay, so quite often asked, what's the one sleep tip that I really should implement? And I think for people who are having difficulty sleeping, it's probably applying the principle of stimulus control of behaviour, which I mentioned in my talk today. Basically, the idea is that certain stimuli predictably lead us to engage in certain behaviours. The example that I used is if you're driving, you're approaching a red light, you put your foot down on the brake respectively. What happens when people sleep poorly is they start spending more time in bed doing wakeful activities. So maybe they're spending time on their bed, using their phone, watching TV, and they're doing so because they think, well, I'm not sleeping well, and maybe if I spend more time in bed, then I'll just occasionally fall asleep, catch up on lost sleep. And the problem is that their brains learn to associate their beds with being awake, and what they need to do is they need to retrain their brains to associate their beds with sleep. And what this means is saving the bed for sex and sleep only.
The two
It means only going to bed when you are tired. And it also means if you can't sleep, so if, for example, you go to bed and after 20 minutes or so you can't fall asleep, or if you wake up in the night and you don't get back to sleep after 20 minutes or so, get up, get out of that room, go to maybe your living room, prepare it in advance to make sure it's comfortable, it should be warm.
Have
because
red lights on.
Red light's an option. So interestingly, red light doesn't seem to suppress melatonin synthesis, and melatonin is basically an internal signal of the nighttime. So if you're going to have any lights on, they should be dim, and red light is certainly better than full spectrum light or blue light. And just do something relaxing in the living room. So it could be reading a book, it could be meditating, it could be listening to relaxing music, classical music, something like that.
Nice. Well, lovely. Thanks very much for your talk today. It was nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Cheers, Greg. This is Johanna Thomas, Pure Joe, at the Biohacking Congress, talking with fellow nutritionist Lily Soutter. Lily, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, why are you at the Biohacking Congress today? What will you be talking about?
So today I'm going to be on a panel discussing the UK food market, versus public health, and
Okay, fantastic. And do you class yourself as a biohacker?
I would say it's a difficult one. I generally follow a well-rounded, balanced lifestyle, but I don't track everything that I do. Okay. So I go through phases where I do, and then phases where I don't. So
sometimes I think it's good to be your internal tracker, rather than always having to have a device for everything. Just listen to your body.
I do,
and then you know that it's telling you, it's giving you a sign. Then go with that. Yeah?
Although I'm very keen on tracking my steps. That's the one thing I do keep up on with.
Interesting.
So,
what's your daily goal?
Well, I try and reach the 10,000, but it's a little bit tricky because I love doing spin and run, and then it doesn't always track on my phone, so I need to get a bit better at that.
Put it all together.
Yeah.
But hasn't there been a study that's proven that actually 10,000 is not beneficial? The actual benefit goes up to 7,700, and anything beyond that is great, but it's not actually beneficial.
Yeah, so I don't think 10,000 is based on much. I think it was actually a made-up figure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think any kind of target where it gets you moving is always positive. So anything, because the nature of my job's relatively sedentary, unless I'm doing talks, so I'm like, I've got to get up and keep moving.
Yeah.
And I do know that's better to stay active throughout the day rather than only short bursts of energy.
Totally.
So.
And my clients say to me, well, what exercise should I do? I'm like, just do anything you enjoy.
Yeah.
Just move. Just get up, whether it's dancing around your living room or whatever. Fantastic. And how can people support and follow you? What's your website or your...
So my website is www.lilysoutternutrition.com, and I'm also on Instagram, Lily Soutter Nutrition.
Fantastic. Have you written any books, Lily, or anything?
I haven't yet, no.
On to that one. Great. And with your expertise, can you give me one free biohack that we should all be doing for better health?
I think my biggest tip is to pick one self-health chosen promoting behaviour, so something which is going to promote health but make sure that it's sustainable. So pick something which is achievable long term. I think we all try and change everything at once too quickly, and then we don't succeed and we tend to fail. So it could be something really small, whether it's simply switching from white refined carbs to whole grains, or simply drinking a little bit more water, and sustaining that over a longer period of time will have better impacts on health rather than trying to go on a crazy diet.
I agree. So it's the small healthy habits every day that all build up to help with the longevity.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much, Lily. It was lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
This is Johanna Thomas, Pure Joe at the Biohacking Congress, talking with Niraj Shah. Niraj, welcome.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you. It's a pleasure. Now, tell me, why are you here today?
There's two reasons. The main one is that it's a chance to just see a lot of things in one space, in the whole biohacking space, things outside of my sphere. I personally am here to talk about digital health and the latest trends and innovations, so I'm chairing a panel on that, which is the area that I look at, the intersection of tech and the human mind.
Okay, fantastic. And do you class yourself as a biohacker, though?
I suppose I fall into that category because I do a whole load of things that would probably fall into that category. So yeah,
right.
For sure.
Okay,
yeah.
But you've had quite an epic health story yourself that has got you to where you are. What was that, if you don't mind sharing?
Of course. I was really unfortunate that at the age of 30, out of nowhere, I had a full-blown stroke, so really serious brain injury. However, I was also simultaneously very lucky because I managed to make a full recovery, but that was the point where an interest in health and well-being went to an absolute obsession with well-being, neuroscience, brain function. I really needed to understand what had happened, and that set me off on this journey of really trying to optimize my health and just trying to live more fully, because now I've seen how fragile life can be, and luckily I managed to lead a pretty full life now.
Oh, good. I'm happy to hear that. And how can people support and follow you? I mean, what is it you're doing in your day-to-day now?
Yeah, so my main focus is on my company, Mind Unlocked, where we take a very research-led and practical approach to mental well-being in particular, and it's designed for really busy people. So we look at how can we make practices like meditation or achieving balance with our digital devices or optimizing sleep or even optimizing mindset, and you can find that at mindunlocked.co, and you can find me in Instagram and all the other usual places.
Love it. And finally, one free biohack can you give us that we should all be doing for better health in your view?
Yeah, so I think actually the simplest biohacks are the best ones. So, but in particular at the moment, I get asked to speak a lot about digital balance, and I think if we want to start changing our relationship with technology, just turn off all notifications.
Agreed.
So that doesn't sound like a very, it doesn't sound like a very cool biohack, but it makes such a profound difference in terms of turning off notifications and also just having boundaries around our tech. So a really good example of that is turning off technology an hour before sleeping and doing things that bring our metabolism down so that we can just sleep better. And I think optimizing sleep is one of the best biohacks out there, and it really feeds into that.
Yeah, I think the blue light of our phones and all of our devices and our TVs and computers, we're surrounded by it. I mean, even when we're in an office, everything is just deadly.
Absolutely,
I wear my blue blocks all the time.
Exactly. So turn off tech, put on the blue blocks, and do that for a week and see what difference it makes to your sleep.
Yeah, I think people have got this fear of missing out, right, when they're always obsessed with their phone, but let it go.
But it's still going to be there the next day.
Still going to be there. Well, lovely. Thanks very much for the talk today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, that's it from me here at the Biohacking Congress. If you're in the USA in the next few months, be sure to check out their next one. I highly recommend. I'm taking home today lots of new hacks. There is the NYC meetup on May the 13th, the Congress in NYC on the 4th of June, the Biohacking Congress in LA at the end of August, and well, that's it. This is Johanna Thomas, your resident holistic nutritionist for The Way Forward.